The story of Hawaii begins in Southeast Asia at around 2000 to 1500 BCE. It was during this time that the ancestors of Hawaii began their life at sea as they started migrating into Indonesia, then New Guinea, and eventually Polynesia. Polynesia is considered to be the collection of islands in between the points of New Zealand, Hawaii, and the Easter Islands. The people traveled between the hundreds of islands in canoes, all the while improving their navigation and boat-building skills. Eventually, a group of explorers from the Marquesas Islands discovered Hawaii around 300 to 600 CE after traveling almost 2,500 miles. These people lived peacefully on the island until around 1000 to 1300 CE, when a second wave of immigrants from Tahiti arrived and conquered the Marquesas. The culture brought by the Tahitians would evolve into the ancient Hawaiian culture that flourished until contact with Europeans in the late 1700s. Hawaiians lived their lives by the system of kapu. The kapu, which can be translated into taboo, were a complex set of rules and guidelines for all aspects of life, from food to politics. They dictated what people were allowed to eat, how to perform certain ceremonies and rituals, where people could go, and how to behave in front of nobility. The kapu were supposed to keep in check the spiritual power of mana, which is like karma, the force, and favor of the gods all in one. Breaking a kapu was normally punishable by death. The Tahitians created a stratified chiefdom in Hawaii with absolute power vested in kings, or mo'i. Each island of Hawaii was a separate entity, and every island was ruled by a different king with his own set of kapu. These kings would then assign chiefs, or ali'i, to govern sections of an island. Chiefs were a kind of nobility that had different status based on their genealogies. Just underneath the chiefs in the caste system were the priests and specialized craftsmen, or kahuna. Powerful kahuna could be found as advisors to the kings and chiefs for their supernatural services. Then there were the commoners, or maka'ainana. These people were much like the commoners of any other society. They worked the king's land, they paid a percentage of their food or other goods and taxes to their king, and could be called upon to fight during a battle. Unlike the commoners of other societies, the maka'ainana were allowed to move to another island of a different king if they did not like their living conditions. Ancient Hawaiians were polytheistic and animistic, worshipping hundreds of different gods for all aspects of life and nature. Just like most animistic religions, shamans, the kahuna, were required for supernatural services. A kahuna could heal, invoke spirits, declare kapu, perform rituals, and most importantly, speak with the gods. Kings and high-ranking chiefs kept kahuna close by to have a connection to the heavens for advice and strength. In ancient Hawaii, it was not uncommon for human sacrifices to be made to the gods to gain favor and manipulate mana. The Hawaiian kinship system is one of the major kinship systems of the world, and is also one of the simplest. In a Hawaiian family, members are categorized by generation and gender only. Those that are in the same generation, or cousins, are all brother and sister. All aunts and uncles are mothers and fathers. All nieces and nephews are sons and daughters. Hawaiian children are raised by the entire family, which is reflected in the kinship system, and adoption was very common. Children were readily given to families that could better provide for them. These adopted children were called henai, and were a normal part of most families. After being discovered in the middle of the ocean, Hawaii developed a unique and flourishing culture in isolation. The Hawaiians had a system of laws and governing, a religion full of gods and spirits, and a community that cared for its children. By the time Captain James Cook came to Hawaii in 1778, the islands were populated by hundreds of thousands of people, and after the contact, none of them would ever be the same.